it has to be the same width.
Let me take that back. Let's add this. So there they go. It says exports are going to have to go from about 58% of GDP up to 65% of GDP in order for these things to hold on. And a lot of that is because of the increase in imports. In other words, if the Paraguayans have this urge to import, and they keep importing, they're going to have to pay for those imports with their exports. They're going to increase the product. They have to increase their proportion of exports. Not impossible to go from 58 to 65. It's a pretty reasonable jump. But what it really means, they've got to look at the products they're exporting and do some innovation. Maybe they'll export some more processed food. They might export some other goods. They have to be creative to find out what they can promote for exports. Right? To be competitive. But that's what they would have to do. They would have to get exports up to 65%. If they don't, they'll never be able to do it. The other projections we looked at. So that's the first scenario, the pessimistic one. Okay. Now we'll do this over again for the other scenarios.
This is going past.
Copy all of
Yeah, I
this.
would think so.
Copy that.
You can see this one's still. Yeah, this is not.
Put it over here. Paste. Paste that. I'm not going to say if you function like this.
Who's this add, subtract?
Now, in the second scenario,
No, subtract.
the growth rate goes up to
X equals y minus c minus g minus I plus
4.2%.
Y minus C.
GDP goes up to 4.2%.
something.
So we'll start over here with Y.
I don't like that anymore.
That's what we equal to. 1 point 042. What is that beeping? 5856. Does anybody know why I'm putting that 2 in front of the growth rate?
The 2 in front of the growth rate?
I've got 1 in front of the growth rate, I'm sorry.
Well, because you're doing growth. I mean, you have to include the year before, so
Exactly.
yeah. How did I nothing?
And now we'll do the same with this. This is scenario 2.
Why didn't we do it in the other direction? Oh, yeah, because it's possible.
This one
I didn't catch that.
is equal. One point 0, 4, 2, 5, 8, 5, 6. Times the one before it. Now we have to put in our assumptions on it. And I think we'll point out. Take it out a little bit. This is going to equal 0.7578 73 times y. And y is B55. Now this y, that's going to equal, we'll use our middle scenario now, 0.209467. M. This is what M was. Let me write it down. M equation. Two 407. Point 24 plus 0.90 582. And what? That would be equal to 24 07 point 4 plus 0.905 92 star y. They change, right? And then we'll do G. Equation that we got for G is that. G, you take the minus .255 plus 0.14 1151 times what?
On the marginal.
Minus 244.255 plus 0.141151 times what?
Barely.
Control shift enter.
It's up to.
Did we do why that? Yeah, we did I.
What those videos look at, dude?
309.
Don't want to take your video. Think about
Well, that's the old about. Did I put the G in the right place? No, I didn't. I put it in the wrong one. So I have to do it here. Equals, please. So minus 244.255 plus 0.141154 y.
So that makes sense. My exports are going to give up to 9%. My imports are going to be 113%.
Did that. Now we're going to get x again.
Which one's the one? Cool.
And x is going to equal
Which one?
y, take away c,
Just, this isn't
G,
a channel I can subscribe to.
take away I,
Just send me the link to
e,
the so we can get you.
y,
So let me subscribe to it.
plus
But this is a channel, right? Do you have a channel? Okay, I think so. Oh, it's called subscriptions. I will subscribe to it. Just send me a link to it and I will subscribe to it.
now let's take a look at
Just
these.
send me a link to one of them, I'll find it. Okay, send me a link to the first one.
It's not like this. It equals 100 times, go back up here, all of these, all of these, and we'll divide it by with roll share. So now we'll drag this. Now, if we get this higher growth rate, it means that we could even have to make more of an effort to export if we get that higher growth rate. The country will have to make more of an effort to export than under the lower growth rate. And that's generally the case. For developing countries, in order for them to grow, they have to push their exports. Otherwise, they don't grow. There was an Argentine economist by the name of Raul Prebisch, who was around in the 1960s. And he said, this is terrible for developing countries because the things that they have to sell are raw commodities. The things that they buy are manufactured. And the prices of manufactured rise faster than the prices of raw commodities. So their terms of trade are always getting worse, which is true. He said the only way developing countries are going to get out of this rut is for them to make their own manufacturing, not to import.
But would the big countries who are exporting manufacturing going to allow that to happen? That's actually what Nixon said.
Okay. So Ralph published started the idea that they should have import substitution. Developing countries should develop import substitution policy. Instead of importing shoes, make your own shoes. Instead of importing pumps, make your own pumps. Whatever they import, try to start a manufacturing company in your own country to do that. And the world went through a period of about 20 years of some developing countries working with import substitution policies, and other developing countries working with export promotion policies. The Latin Americans adopted the import substitution model. The Asians, Taiwan and Korea and the rest of the Asian tigers, they adopted the export promotion policy. At the end of 25 years, everybody looked at the results and they said, that was bad advice. Import substitution doesn't work. India had an import substitution policy. Pakistan had an export promotion policy. Pakistan was doing real well until they got into a big war with India. And they split into two countries, Pakistan and Bangladesh. Before that, they were doing well. But since from that point on, their country went downhill. India, at the end of that period, realized they made a mistake and they decided to do something else. They came out with pushing education and developing their service sector. They never expected to compete with the developed countries in manufacturing, but they figured they could do it with services and higher education. China decided to go ahead and push export promotion. And now you see what happened in China, a miracle country. The changes in China are dazzling for anybody who knows the country. So now, there's hardly any country in the world that practices import substitution. The way it will grow is through export promotion. You see that here. So a little model for Paraguay. So they have to become creative with what they export. They might go into exporting organic beef, or go into exporting things like that. Things that the world wants, and they can sell at higher prices. Huh? Anything for that?
Why is that?
Well, whatever they, I'll give you an example of a country that practiced export promotion in the Caribbean, Central America. Does anybody know what that country is?
Brazil?
No, a country in Central America that practiced export promotion. It's a country that doesn't speak Spanish. Belize. Belize is an English-speaking country, basically. And they went and they did an export promotion policy rather than an import substitution policy with the opposite. Anybody here from Belize? Anybody know anything about Belize?
Excellent, excellent.
They have a very good economy. A very good economy. It's been good for a while. And what they did is they pegged their currency to the U.S. dollar and sold everything they exported to the U.S. very low.
What was the name of Argentina economy? Argentina economy?
Ralph Rabish. Rabish. B-E-S-C-H. Ralph. All right. So now we got this. This is what we would call the trend scenario, in between scenario. And you can see that if this were to materialize, you would have to really push exports up from 58 up to almost 68% of the GDP. Now let's take a look at something else here. We'll look at their debt, the deficit, or net export. And that's going to be equal to export minus import. And you see what's happening here. They have very high deficits, almost 10% of GDP. That's too high. Much too high. Now let's see what it was in historical years.
X minus 10, right? Part minus X plus. We do this for each one. What? It's awesome. Oh, that makes sense. It's trending to ridiculous numbers.
In the historical period,
Why is all this?
it was worse to begin with, but then they got it under control. But then it started getting bad again. Under the projections, they're bringing it down from the historical period. So, many of these countries have learned to live with these deficits. What they do is build up on their debt. Each year that you have a deficit, part unpaid part goes to your national debt. And the debt keeps accumulating. We're talking about accumulating in real terms. But this is, now that I look at the historical period, this is not much different than the historical period. It's better than historical. On the average. We can leave this go for that. Ideally, for a country, that should be 5% or less. If you're an export promoting country, then your exports will be greater than your imports, because that'll be positive. We should take a look at Taiwan, as a good example, or Korea, these are good examples. See how they look. So that takes care of scenario 2 in this country, Paraguay. And now we'll look at what happens if they go to an optimistic scenario, where they really grow hot. Now, one thing about this, we're assuming that consumption stays at the average consumption consumed, and that investment stays at the steady level, and that government remains pretty well behaved. These all look like reasonable parameters. But what's happening is that the import function is moving very fast. If we were to change this import function and say put a limit on what they can import by putting in the average propensity to import rather than that equation that we use, we might get a different result. Let's take a look at the import equation. And we'll press the constant term with that. So now, when we do that, we lock imports down to 59.46. If we go back to the middle scenario, change this. This. Five, 9, 4, 6. Well, we're going to lower the import. Imports are now 59.5. Exports go down. We still have this big jump, still 9% of GDP. And that doesn't really help. It only means that they trade less. Let's go back to the old equation. Here's the historical data, so you can see how they are right down, they come back up.
Oh, see, that's a very, very even. That makes it's they can possibly close. It's minus 13.2. Mine has just incredible trade deficits and then trade surpluses.
So now I'm moving Y.